How's it going out there, YouTube? My name is Jesse, and I am the curator for the Golden Age, and this is another...
Lost Heroes of the Golden Age.
Yes, this is another Lost Heroes of the...
I can't believe you.
What is your issue this time?
With all the popular Nedor characters out there, you had to find the most two obscure ones. They're both one and done.
Seriously? That's the issue? I mean... This is Lost Heroes of the Golden Age. I'm pretty sure that these two guys were extremely lost.
Oh, bravo, bravo. Good for you.
You done?
Ugh.
Yes, as the voice was saying, there are a lot of popular characters in Nedor comic books. Nedor never really liked to keep a character in limbo. I mean, they tried to do a number of issues for each one of their heroes. Finding these two one and dones were not actually easy. I mean, some of their characters may have as little as 8 issues. One character has 3 issues, but a lot of them got a number of issues and pretty well character developments. It was kind of interesting finding the two one and dones. There is a lot of characters in Nedor, and a good number of them appeared in Project Superpowers, the Fighting Gang, the Black Terror, Miss Mask, Pyro Man, Captain Future. They were quite different in Nedor than they were in Project Superpowers, though. But I wanted to find some of the most obscure heroes because, if you're a reader of Nedor, you know these characters. So I wanted to find the most obscure ones because this is Lost Heroes after all. So let's go into this Lost Heroes of the Golden Age, and you can see 2 of the one and dones from Nedor. Okay, Mechano. What it looks like. Mechano. Mechano first appeared in Wonder Comics number 1 in 1944. Publisher is Nedor. Created by Bob... looks like Oskaner. Okay, before we get started, all the pages have little like slogans down here. Smash Hitler and I'm not even gonna try and butcher that name. Buy all the war stamps you can. All right, Mechano. Here it is, boys and girls, the most thrilling, fascinating tale of breathtaking adventure you'll ever read. Step into a strange new world, the world that science hopes for, and meet Mechano, man of metal, a great new hero you'll never forget. And you see this fantastic looking splash page right here. Why are you holding a wrench? You don't hold a wrench in the entire story. Alright. So we start off with Mechano being at the World's Fair. Yeah, don't miss Mechano, the Wonder Robot. So these two kids are talking about it, and he's like, I'm going to see him again. I've seen him a number of times. And this guy in a suit pops in, and this is a complete non sequitur. Bill Foster, young engineer, displays his charge. So you can count 2. Now say something to the folks, Mechano. Hello, glad to see you. Take that hunk of tin out of here. This guy, he just... Like I said, this is just a stupid scene. He comes in here just so he can... you've done your bit, now do your best. Buy more war stamps. He's a jerk. That's what this guy in the suit is a jerk. So he goes ahead and he slaps the kid in the face. So the inventor of the robot hits him so hard that he sends him flying. Gee, what a sock! So, thanks, sir. I'm Tommy Clark. I know that Mechano is going to be... It's almost human. Wow, the way you inserted it there, you had something wrong with your type there. Going is so highlighted and almost is so minuscule. Everything else seems to be normal size, though. Human one of these days. And no tough guy. Okay. Okay, so he ends up talking to this he ends up talking to his boss, and they're talking about how he talks about how he wants to do more improvements, and the boss gives him the go-ahead. And now he's talking to a reporter. And there's this little thing right here. Fiction? Not at all. Even the great scientists are working with mechanical men, seeking new marvels. And if what follows is fantasy, remember that the airplane, the telephones, and the countless phenomenons of the present-day laboratories, those too were once fantasy. So carry on, Bill. Not entirely wrong. Now he's still working with Tommy, apparently, and he's talking about how, let's see, I'll have something great. A radio-controlled robot will do everything but think, and maybe he'll even do that one day. So, the following day, yeah, go ahead. I wonder if it'll work. So yeah, just go ahead and turn on the robot without having the creator around. Yeah, obviously that can't turn out badly. And so the robot starts going on a rampage. The police are shooting at him. He's trashing the car, tearing down this brick wall, and is almost going to stomp on a little girl when he's got out of control. This is the only way to stop him. Okay, so first of all, you shouldn't have been in the laboratory without the inventor, and you made the robot run amok. So you destroy the equipment to stop him. I can't fault you for stopping the robot, but you just destroyed the equipment. You shouldn't have been messing with it in the first place. Alright, the robot slumps to a stop. The paper comes out. Giant robot runs riot. Police seize Mechano and control apparatus. And then we come over to what will be some Germans or Nazis. Kind of flips back and forth. Yeah, Nazi spies. Okay, I thought they mentioned being for Germany, so I wasn't sure if they were Nazis at first. So they say that they want to take control of Mechano and make it work for their side. So we see them storming the police station, and they take Mechano and the control mechanism. And the lady reporter decides to follow them, and they run her off the road. And that's a fiery crash. Good thing you got in there unsinged. So she tells Bill about how the Nazis had taken control of the robot. So let's see. It's no use. I can't make heads or tails out of these controls. They're too complicated for me. Fool. What these Yankee pigs can do, a German can better. It must be fixed. Are you speaking English or are you speaking German? Because if you're speaking German, there's no reason that your sentence should sound weird like this. And then apparently Bill busts in. Himmler, it will be rats for America. Oh, okay. And for you, he grabs the big guy, throws a table at someone else. Maybe the comic should have focused on him. Jesus. He gets pistol whipped from behind and doesn't fall unconscious. You see, this is who the story should be about. This guy's amazing. First you stole my robot. Now you're supposed to kill me. And he's like, oh, we're not going to kill you. We need you to work on the robot for us. So, Tommy and the reporter gal, Sandra? S-A-N-D-R-A, Sandra. They follow him, and then they decide to sneak aboard the ship. And over here, they're whipping him to get him to be compliant. That's a weird way to get some work on our side, never whap. Work on our side, never whap. I mean, that's not a way to do it. There are better ways. Okay, and I guess that they leave, and he sees Sandra and Tommy, and they said that they stole the board. He's like, you guys signed your own death warrant. You can't get away. And they're like, yeah, but look, if you repair Metallo, he can beat up everybody on the ship. And he's like, you're right. I'll work on him. So he works, and it says, as the days passed, there, he'll do now. Ha, I thought you'd see the light. Now, Sandra and Tommy have snuck aboard the ship, and they said it's been several days. How did Sandra and Tommy get food? I mean, were they smart enough to sneak around the ship and get enough provisions where nobody saw them, and they took enough that nobody noticed that more than normal was missing? I mean, if it said several hours passed, that'd be one thing. It said several as these days passed, so it was several days. Okay, so Tommy springs out and starts knocking some guys down. Make for the deck, Sandra. You're telling me? He cracks this guy over the head with a bottle. She gets up on the next level. She starts crying out for help. And Bill realizes that this is his chance. So he has Metallo beat up the big guy who pistol whipped him. And has him starting to tear apart the ship. And Meccano. Why do I keep saying Metallo? Meccano. He starts beating up everyone. He's thrashing people left and right. When you look at him, he's terrific. And then Tommy gets hit from behind. I know Bill gets hit. Okay, that's Bill on the controls. Tommy from the deck. Okay. So he hits Bill with the chair, and since the robot is radio controlled with nobody at the controls, he can't keep thrashing everybody. At the bay, and a startling proposal. Let us live, and I'll show you the real secret of Meccano. I'll fix him so that we can conquer a regime and make you invisible. You may be bluffing, but we'll see. Several weeks later on the German coast. Now, this is weeks later. I mean, Sandra and Tommy aren't stowaways anymore, so I'm supposing that they're feeding them. And this is weird. He works on the robot, and one of the high-ranking officials show up. See, they're on the firing squad now. Why would you wait weeks to do that? Okay, I guess they needed them alive so he would work. So, success at last. These extra relays will function independently of radio control and make Meccano obey my voice. Okay, so he programs the robot in a way, but he keeps the radio controls up, so he's making it look like he's still controlling him with the radio. You see he detaches it there, and he's controlling him by the voice. My work is done. Now, what has become of my friends? I'll tell you a lot more. I know how Hitler's every plan for conquest. Meccano shall make Germany all powerful. And he decides to go and assassinate the French. Why would you wait weeks to do this? Well, I guess maybe keeping them alive kept him cooperative. And when he sees that they're about to go into the firing squad, he reacts quickly. He throws the radio controls at and then with two precious lives at stake, he throws the radio at one guy, tells Meccano to go into the courtyard and rescue them. He walks out in there, and he's throwing the soldiers into the air. That's wonderful. He breaks down the brick wall. He starts throwing German soldiers. The gun can't stop him. He squishes more people. Attention, General von Lutz. The commandos have made landing, and they're walking into our trap. So he hears about the soldiers coming in. We're trapped. They've got us surrounded. Only one thing left to do, men. Go down fighting. Now, I have to commend them for this. That's something that we're taught in the Army. Even if you find yourself in a war of attrition, you may end up losing, but you make them pay for every inch. Luckily, I didn't find myself in a situation like that, but they prepare us mentally to be able to fight to the death if need be. I mean, you may lose, but make them pay. Let's see. Meccano's out of earshot, and he's the only one who can save those poor devils now. Looks like this is part of a public address system. Here it goes. So he uses the radio mechanism to tell Mechano to go down to the beach and help them. At the ambush, Donner und Blitzen, look out! I thought maybe this had came out in the wintertime. That's why you're saying Donner and Blitzen. That's ridiculous. I know I was ridiculous. I did actually look these words up. Apparently it means thunder and lightning. That's an odd choice. Okay, so the robot comes down and he grabs their machine gun and starts to beat them up with it. Single-handedly, Metallo puts the Nazis to flight. Okay, so apparently he made it down to the beach too. Well, I mean, he needs to tell Metallo what to do. Okay, so, hi, Bill. I trailed along to see the fun. What, you mean you left Sandra alone? Dude, this guy went into your lab and activated the robot when you weren't there because he's very impetuous and extremely short-sighted. So, yeah, of course he would follow you. So she gets grabbed, of course, because there's no one there to defend her. And they make her cry for help over the radio to bring the robot and Bill back. And they feel that they can go ahead and crush the robot. Our forces are ready. We can't fail this time. And there comes Mechano. Remember, shoot only to disable him. We need him intact. So they still don't want him destroyed because they want to be able to learn the secrets, which, of course, they did have him and couldn't learn the secrets. So the tank starts rushing at him, and Metallo, man-made machine clash in a surge of power, and he lifts up the tank. I think it's great. And then you see this set of marching troops. He knocks down the building right on top of them. Mechano strikes a mighty blow for democracy. Yes! Meanwhile, a fight for life. No use, we're outnumbered. We've got to fall back to the boats and leave Sandra never. And then there we see Mechano. He's carrying her. He's got this von whoever guy in his clutches. And then we see them all sailing back home. Let's see. I'll read these last couple of pages. A fast retreat and escape. We'll be back in England soon, and you can tell me Mechano's a robot. Why, he's half human. I think he's all human, Captain. Look at the way he's looking at Sandra. He's in love. That's extremely creepy. Gee, Bill, what a story I'm going to have for my papers. And if it features your picture, I'll buy the whole edition. Later, Uncle Sam's counting on you. Buy those war bonds and do it now. No, he'll be in the next episode. I'm having real trouble with this last statement that he makes. And if it features your picture, does he mean your story? Because there were no cameras. I'll buy the whole edition. That's how you buy papers. You say, here's a nickel, give me the paper. Did you mean that you'll buy all of them or something? Alas, this is the 40s, and sometimes the vernacular completely escapes me. Major Mars. Major Mars, real name unknown, first appeared in Exciting Comics number 1 in 1940. The publisher is Nedor, created by Max Plainstead. Now, before I get into this, it said that Major Mars was originally created as a pulp culture character called Captain Future. Now, Captain Future is a character in Nedor Comics, and it's not Major Mars. I can almost see this being a pulp culture, because it does feel... It doesn't have the feel of a 1940s story. This feels more like something that you would have found in the mid to late 30s. But, 1940, so let's do this. Major Mars. Major Mars, wizard of science and inventor of Garg, the robot endowed with a synthetic brain. Greg can think and talk. Born on the moon of earthly parents, Major Mars is a one-man vigilance committee dedicated to the maintenance of the peace among the planets. That was a mouthful. Okay. So we start off. Major Mars isn't even here yet. Okay, we start off. The space liner from Jupiter has just arrived, Mr. President. Good. It brings secrets about Sperling, whose reports I am awaiting. So as they're sitting there talking, we get a text bubble that says, in the year 3964 AC. AC. Okay. In the private office of the President of the planet Earth. President of Earth. Yeah, that definitely feels like something from the 30s. The President of the planet Earth in its capital, New York City. Stop! Don't shoot! I think it's Sperling. It's inhuman. It will kill us. I'll shoot him. They realize that this is the guy that he was waiting for. I recognize him. He left Earth a man, returns as a beast. And they think it's weird that men are being turned into beasts, so they get a hold of Major Mars. He shows up in this spectacular looking ship. Look at there's a lot of stuff going on around in space. So he goes to the office and reports for duty, and he's given this letter, and I'll read this letter. To President of the Earth, from Sterling Special Agent, trying to report back to Earth, but am changing into a beast. All Earthmen on Jupiter being stricken by a strange plague, all turning into vicious animals. My mind is slipping. I think like a beast. Now, and that's it. So we learned what the letter I've given to the president. So Major Mars and his robot make their way towards Jupiter, and while they're on the way, they get attacked. Suddenly, from space came a black fighting ship. Its deadly flare guns in action. So we see that they have a little bit of a space battle, and the robot and the Major get the drop on the ship and force them to land. And while they do that, they break into the ship, and these guys start rushing out. Leave this one for me, Greg. Nice going, Greg. Now don't squeeze him too hard. And he says that the Space Emperor sent you here. Who is he? We don't know, but the Jovians worship him. Turn that fellow over to the police, Crag. Await my further orders. I have an idea. So he takes this guy that he was dealing with and says, take me to the Emperor. So oh my God, this is such an old, it's a castle with flying creatures, of course. So we view on the inside and we see a guy with a whip with just a hood, boxers and shoes. The Emperor has a fetish. The Space Emperor, who turns Earthmen into beasts, manifest his a beast. This thing is so faded, it's so hard to read. Against him, Major Mars just pit his. I think that's what it said. It is so faded, it's very hard to read. Okay, so this guy presents Major before the Emperor, and he's dangerous. You should have killed him at once. See to it now. He did try to kill him, and he failed. So the Major leaps at the Emperor, and I guess it turned out to be a hologram because he went right through him, and then he darts through the wall. He's going right through the wall like a ghost. So either it's the hologram or technology. Okay, so he didn't defeat the Emperor, and he goes home. What was the point of you going there if you're just going to come back home? Okay. Glad you're here, Major Mars. Someone must help us. As Vice Governor, I also welcome you. I am Jonah Jitson. Dad asked me to show you the Earthmen who became beasts. Just meeting everybody today, aren't you? So this scantily clad woman takes him to where the beast chamber is, and someone locks them in and opens up the cell doors. I guess that they wanted the beast to try and tear them apart. So he starts blasting them with the ray gun, but I don't think he's doing it into a high enough intensity to kill them. I think he's just trying to subdue them because they were men. Calling Greg, Major Mars calling Greg. He's a television watch. He says that we are in city prison. I'm coming, master. And then we see Greg come over, and he's got a torch in his hand, and he frees Major Mars. It's a rather big hole. Hold them, I'll call the prison guards. They cannot get by me. I'm in charge of the hospital at the radium mines. We must report at once. Okay, so we see him go to a laboratory and start to work. The changing of men into beasts must be the thymus gland. That's a hell of a deduction. A thymus gland reaction. I'll try and develop a curative serum that can be injected by a hypodermic needle. Do you even understand the process? I guess. I mean, he makes a hell of a deduction, but alright. The planetary police may know what is going on. I will see their commander. Okay. So we see him take off, bolder than he has ever seen them. Jupiter's green men cluster about him. The Jovians are growing bolder. They're up to something. We suspect that they're using the radium mines as an operating base. Looks like the work of the Space Emperor. So Major Mars takes out a guard at the radium mines, and he gets himself a vantage point and sees all the Jovian, which are little green men, lining up. And he says that they look like they're trying to build an army. So he ambushes another guard and has him... It should get quite exposition. We are forced to obey the Space Emperor or he'll change us into apes. So he puts this guy into a cave and gags him so that he can't warn anybody. He gets himself another vantage point and notices that the Space Emperor is landing. Horrified, Major Mars sees Joan a prisoner of the Space Emperor. Mars makes himself invisible. So he's talking about how he can become invisible and for a short time. So he goes up to this area, which looks like a stage, I guess. And he frees her, but then the invisibility starts to wear off. As he unties Joan, his invisibility wears off, and the Jovians rush at him. An Earthman spy, get him! He says that the invisibility has failed. And now, Major, with you dead, I cannot fail. I'm not dead yet. So they put them in some chains and take them to a chamber and seal the entrance, where they open the door and one of the beastmen come in. Major Mars is no match for the brutal or bestial strength of this creature. So he sticks him with the hypodermic needle and immediately he changes back. I remember slowly turning into a beast. It was horrible. The Emperor had discovered the secret of the ancients. They made him all powerful. So they get into the passageway that the Beastman came out of, and they go down the corridor, Fire Mountain, another of Jupiter's freaks of nature. So, let's see. Why did we borrow a police ship, Master? Our own ship might be recognized, Craig. So him and the robot go into this Fire Mountain so they can investigate what's going on. It's the Space Emperor ship. He's here, Craig, but he won't get anywhere this time. And I guess the Master slipped by them. I was invisible when I passed you. Without a ship, you cannot leave the cave. So he takes off in the ship and leaves them both to die. He has reversed the lava flow, Craig. It's up to you. You have no lungs. I will make you invisible so that the heat will not melt you. That's not how invisibility works. That's how intangibility works. But just because you're invisible doesn't mean that the heat won't affect you. That's ridiculous. Anyways. It looks like the ship is blasting the mountain from the outside. I guess maybe he's trying to collapse it onto Major Mars. So we see his robot getting out, and he turns on these anti-gravity, what is it, belt or jets? Anti-gravity belt that we just now learned about. Back at the Earth colony, the Space Emperor is already marching with an army of the Jovians. So him and his robot fly over to where the army is, and they see them from the sky, and they swoop down upon him. The robot gets in, separates the Jovians from the Emperor. Back, Major Mars crashes down to the Emperor and rips his belt off. Without the belts of power of the ancients, without the belt of power of the ancients, are lost to you. That's what. Without this belt, the power of the ancients are lost to you. That is a really weird way of saying that. They'll be mine again. I'll rule the universe. And as he pulls out a ray gun, he is warned by his robot. He swoops in and he knocks the master out. And the Jovians want to kill Major Mars because they believe that the Emperor is an ancient. And he rips the mask off his head. We'll read these last couple of pages. Wait! He is mortal and an Earthman. He tricked you. The Space Emperor is none other than Mr. Cleve, Vice President of the Earth Colony. Cleese is a prisoner and the cave of the ancients destroyed by lava. Jupiter is peaceful again, and you back to the moon to await another flare signal. Perhaps we'll meet again. Major Mars heads his ship back to his home on the moon. He had a good thing going right there. I mean, you had Belt of Ancient Power. This woman seems to be infatuated with you. Make that your home. All right, and that is Major Mars. I hope you've been enjoying this so far. I hope you're learning a lot about these heroes. And the Nedor month continues next week. And until then, I'll be seeing you.